Hello and welcome back to Logan Sounds Off for my first interview of 2025. I'm very excited to be sharing my chat with Seán Mulrooney, one of the most incredible Irish musicians on the scene at the moment, well known for being part of the iconic progressive rock Irish folk group Town the Drones of Praise. Seán is now embarking on his now solo career with his new album, This Is My Prayer, coming out very soon. And we're excited to talk about that later in the interview and so much more. Seán, how are you?
I'm very well, Logan. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazingly because I'm getting to chat to you about all of your amazing music.
Great stuff.
So, for those who don't know you, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Um. I grew up in Dublin, Donamead. Um. Yeah, working class background. Um. Wow, where do I start, Logan? That's a big question. It's we
It's
go
it's
right
really
back.
big.
Do I go right back to the start? Yeah, I grew up in Donamead, Dublin. Little known fact, myself and Damien Dempsey grew up on the same road. So yeah, I began in music. My family are very musical. My dad is a great ballad singer. Um, so I think music was a big part of my journey from very young. Um, I started getting into music as my passion and sole purpose quite young too. I was about, I think I was 14 when I picked up a guitar first. And from that moment on, it was pretty clear that that's what I was going to be doing for the rest of my life. Was very lucky to find that so young. And yeah, big journey since then. Mm,
An amazing journey, and I'm excited to get
yeah,
into that. Starting off with just looking back then to your childhood, picking up the guitar, that kind of era. I know some of your current musical inspirations include David Bowie, Nick Cave, and The Fall.
mm,
And are these the musicians that you grew up with?
definitely not. No. We are very much like my dad. I think my dad was, very much a ballad singer. Um, he, our house was the party house. So every New Year's Eve, we would have a big party, and my dad and my mom and their friends were always singing like Cat Stevens ballads. Yeah, mostly kind of American 60s folky stuff, and yeah, like they were big Bruce Springsteen fans. Not saying I am. Like people won't believe me, but I'm an Irish man who's not a big Bruce Springsteen fan. So, um, yeah, so that was the main influence, and then something very pivotal happened to me when I was about 17. My sister's then boyfriend, now my brother-in-law, bought me two CDs for Christmas, and it was David Bowie, Low, and Heroes.
Oh,
And
wow.
I think that was probably one of the best gifts I ever got, because when I heard those two records, kind of changed the game for me.
Yeah, David Bowie really is such an inspirational icon. I know
Mm,
myself, one of the first records I bought was Changes One Bowie, and I bought that on vinyl for one of my like I first got a little dinky suitcase record player. And
that,
I still love listening to Bowie. I recently discovered Black Star about a year ago, and that's an amazing album.
oh, what a song.
I know.
What a way to go as well.
Yeah, it's
Like,
completely otherworldly, that record.
yeah,
Yeah.
masterpiece. Okay, I'm on my way out into the next world, and this is my gift to you. Like, wow.
It's pretty deep
Couldn't
and
have made it
it's
up.
exactly, and it's intense to listen to. And like I recently did a review on Hunky Dory by David Bowie, and the link to that will be down below in the description if anybody wants to have a listen to that. And just he's an amazing artist, whether he's doing a really deep album like Black Star or just something much lighter and experimental like Hunky Dory is amazing. So,
I listened to your Hunky Dory review.
oh wow, did you? What
Yeah,
did you
yeah,
think of it?
very good, very
Oh,
good. Yeah.
thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And moving on from that pivotal moment when you were 17, I know you lived in Berlin for 13 years. So moving on from your early life, what was the music scene like over in Berlin? And was there a, like obviously in a whole different country, there's going to be a massive comparison, but how did you find exploring the music over in Berlin?
Oh, it was absolutely thriving back then. Um, there's this bar in Berlin which was kind of pivotal to the psychedelic rock scene, and it's called 8mm. And I actually ran gigs in a very famous venue there too called White Trash. And when we moved over in my den band Humanzi, at that time there was a lot of space. Everything was really cheap. Um, we had our own studio which we went to every single day, and yeah, I ended up working with amazing. Like I worked with Damo Suzuki from Cannes. I who became a friend of mine actually, which is a whole story. If I wasn't in Berlin, that would have never happened. Um, Even Michael Rotter, I don't know if you know Noi. I ended up Noi are a absolutely seminal influence. One of it's Can and Noi really the two krautrock, the most influential krautrock uh, bands of all time, and I ended up singing with Michael Rotter on a night that I put together called Future Days, which is named after a Can record. So when I look back at Berlin, it was absolutely phenomenal what I was involved in. There was such a scene there, and that bar is still going, 8mm bar, which is one of the last, I would say, music bars, and that was a place where you go where all the bands hang out, like you know Brian Jonestown Massacre would hang out there. Yeah, it was just one of those places, and to be young in Berlin at that time, I was 20. I think I was 27 when I moved there, or 26, and there was just so much potential. I was completely immersed by it, you know, and it's changed a lot. But yeah, I think I left Berlin because I did absolutely everything I could have done, and then
Yeah, there.
well, I left for a few reasons, but yeah, yeah, amazing times, really, really amazing times.
Wow, that's really, really interesting. And then I just want to, because I know I'm not too familiar with krautrock or just particular music from Berlin in general. Is that Neu? How do you spell that?
NEU.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out now. I'm gonna have a listen to that. And
Logan, if you haven't heard now, I think you're in for a treat.
oh well, I'm very excited now.
Mm.
And so from Berlin, then I know as well one other place that you visited, which I wasn't familiar with until I started researching you, and I was just captivated by some of the images of the Wirikuta Desert.
Mm.
And this was kind of you had your eureka moment really in the Wirikuta Desert for when Tau and the Drones of Praise first formed, or the idea did. Could you tell us a little bit more about that formation?
Yeah, so um, all my life I've been kind of very interested in Native American culture, um, and indigenous worldviews, and um, a kind of animist based spirituality. And for some reason or another, I ended up going to Wirikuta, to that desert, and I was on a pilgrimage with indigenous people from there, and it just had a profound impact on me. At that time, I was would say creatively lost. As I said, I was living in Berlin and I'd worked a lot in the industry and I was promoting a lot of concerts and stuff. And when I went to the desert, I really had this space to kind of tune into what I actually wanted to do for my own sole purpose, which, you know, we all go through these, we have to go through these doubts as creatives. Like, what am I doing? Is this going to sustain me? Is this really what gives me the most joy? And we have those questions every now and again. So I went there, and just from the teachings of them and stuff that I inherently knew within myself, I got the inspiration to start Tao. And yeah, I was very influenced by Mesoamerican culture. So do you know what Mesoamerican is?
No, I'm not familiar.
So Mesoamerican basically means pre-Columbus, pre-colonial European colonialism. So, um, and it's very similar to what you would say Irish pre-colonialism, British occupation, where we were, and we still are. It's a kind of a living thing that's always evolving, like just this kind of spirituality, connecting to the elements, to the fire, to the wind, to the water, um, and living finding ways to live a good life. That's basically and why I went there. And yeah, it was a very, very big blessing and hugely inspirational. And to finish the story, like the beginning of Tao was very influenced by that, was influenced by what's known as medicine music, like prayerful music, which is not necessarily religious. It's like singing and giving gratitude and singing to the elements and bringing in the fire. And that's kind of why I wanted to do that music, even unconsciously. And I think I was one of the first people to kind of do this blend. If you listen to the first Tao record, it's very it's being called shamanic rock. That's what the French uh, magazine said, rock shamanic. So I was like, okay, shamanic rock, I'll take that. Um, so that's pretty much how it started.
Wow, that's really,
Mm.
really awesome. And then as well, like before even Tao 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 came out, and obviously if you want to listen to any Tao and the Drones praise music, all links down below, and same with Sean's solo career. But with before Tao Tao Tao, I know your first EP was also named after the desert Wiri Kuta, and that was such an incredible EP to listen to for me personally, because I just finished up a couple of months at least of exploring the discography of Michael Gerard's Swans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
love.
and I actually heard a bit of not as in a Swans inspiration, but there was some common denominator nearly in that EP that I heard that was quite similar to Swans. So I really, really enjoyed that EP and I thought it was excellent. Definitely check it out, listeners, if you haven't heard it before. And it's loved by the community. All really hardcore Tao fans really love that EP. So,
Really, you know way more than me, Logan.
well, no, it's
I've
obvious
never.
when I was
Yeah.
looking at just that EP, the amount of streams that it had gotten, I was it was amazing to see so many people enjoying the album, the EP, and telling stories about it nearly below in the comments. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
what was that like then, first coming onto the scene, releasing your EP with this new idea that you had gotten? What were you anxious to put it out there, or were you excited to start your new journey?
Um, I was just, yeah, very excited. It was just very clear. For the first time, I was like, with my other projects, Tao is my soul project. That's that's like that's my commitment. That's like, no matter what happens, this is what I'm doing. And um yeah, it was very exciting because we toured as a duo and we were very different, you know. The drummer Gerald, he's from Venezuela, and um, we just had this amazing chemistry. It was two of us. He would, yeah, it was really exciting. But Tao has evolved and has had so many different lineups, and the sound has evolved. But yeah, Wirikuta, the first EP, was a great start, and it was really well received. Um, yeah,
Yeah, it's an amazing EP. It's actually one of my second favorite release from Tao and the Drones Praise. My favorite would be
Logan, I'm gonna send
Mishnock.
you. I'm gonna send you a vinyl because there's not many left, and maybe the label who put it out, Fuzz Club, maybe it's time to do a repress, I would say.
It's definitely time to do a repress. I think there'll be tons of people out there who'd love to buy that record. And thank you so much. That's a very kind thing to say. And yeah, if you want to see a repress of Worry Kusa, put a comment down below. We'll try and get it. We'll try and get a repress.
Tag
Um,
Fuzz Club Records as well.
yeah,
Great
thanks Fuzz
label.
Club. Amazing label. And the link to that EP itself from the
Hmm.
Fuzz Club channel will be below. Um, and then obviously coming from Weary Kusa, you had your first LP, Tau Tau Tau. And then obviously Tau and the Drones of Praise, the self-titled album, was quite then more very different. I could start to see you guys though when I was listening, because I listened to Mishnock first before that previous album, then I could see where you guys were turning towards Mishnock, which is what I'd
Hmm.
like to talk to you about, which is my favorite album by you guys. It's so cool. And
Logan,
obviously,
before you do, can I say one thing which is really interesting? Um, it's really interesting because Bowie died January. I even think it could be today, or a
yeah.
couple of days, whatever it was, 2016. And when we started recording Tau Tau Tau, the first day of recording was the day Bowie died.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That must have been incredibly like
it was.
difficult. It would have been very
No,
difficult.
it was completely transcendent. It was because the producer in Berlin is like me, a massive Bowie fan, and we went in and there was this sense of grief. We went into the studio and we were all so silent and calm, and like because he meant so much to the world. The man was on a mission, you know, and I'll never forget it. We made an altar for him. We had beautiful pictures and we had flowers and candles, and we left the candles lighting for the whole recording of the
Oh
album. Tau
wow.
Tau Tau. Um, and it's funny that we're doing this interview because I'm pretty sure it could be today or tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow is going to be the eight is going to be the ninth anniversary
Whoa.
of David Bowie's death, which is so sad, like genuinely. Um, I must share for my next 60-second review on the podcast tomorrow. I should do Black Star by
Oh,
David Bowie.
do.
Yeah,
But there's
yeah.
so much life in death as well. Like he gave so much, and that's just part of it. But anyway, thanks for just wanted to say that.
Oh no, thank you for letting us know. That's really really interesting. And just coming from then, as I was saying, Tau Tau Tau, you guys made such a amazing journey to just observe. Like me, as someone who's just starting to really get into your music, to watch this was so cool. And then, sorry for the bad pronunciation, Shanori Nuefa as well. That EP is excellent. And then you the band embarked on an amazing journey of Mishnock, which was not only just you guys though, you had an obscene amount of guests this time, including Paul Brennan and Damien Dempsey, as we mentioned earlier. And just what was it like getting these guests into the studio and working on this amazing project? Could you tell us a little bit more about that experience as a whole?
At Mishnock specifically,
Mishnock specifically,
yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Oh man. I don't know how it all happens. For some reason, when I make a Tau record, it's pretty flow. Every time, every time you make a record, it's effortless, honestly. It
That's crazy.
Because I'm constantly working on an album. That's since I'm 20. When I finish one, like for example, when This Is My Prayers released on Valentine's Day this year, I'll never listen to it again. Well, unless it comes on somewhere. I'll be completely obsessed with that music until it's out. And when it's out, I'm all in and then I'm all out. And Mishnock was the same. Like the producer that I work with, Robbie, we just have this. He's done the three Tao albums. We just have this chemistry. It's like it's rare. It's very rare, and it's very exciting. Um the how Damo came on board was also he was just visiting Berlin, and it was my birthday actually, my 40th or 39th birthday. It was my 39th birthday, and a week before I was like, I heard you're in Berlin. Like, would you be interested in coming in and singing on a couple of tunes? So I sent him a couple of demos, and he came back and he's like, I'll sing on one song, Sean, and that's going to be Keolan Craig.
Oh, nice.
And he's so clear. And he came into the studio on my birthday. My whole family was there. All my nephews, well, not my whole family, my sister and my two nephews, they live in Berlin too. Who my nephews also play in my solo band, by the way. Peter and Jamie. Yeah, and it was just so profound hearing them sing back in the like, because he gets it. Like he's a Celtic warrior. That's what he is. Like he's a powerhouse, and it was just brilliant. The whole thing came together so well. And Paul actually wrote that song. Colin Craig. He wrote the lyrics and the melody, and it was more like a chant. It didn't have any music. And then when I heard it, I asked Paul if I could record it my own version, and then Paul was like, "Yeah, yeah." So it kind of pumped up um Tao version, and that's how that all came together. Yeah, and Paul has been such a mentor for me over the last 5 years. Really, since lockdown, we got to know each other, and yeah, he's amazing. And also with the Irish pronunciations and the spellings and all of that, that's who I turn to, because Irish seems to be very important, most recent in my music.
Oh, yeah,
But yeah,
definitely.
as Robbie says, it's an open door policy when we make a Tao record, and everybody's welcome to the party. That's pretty much what Robbie, the producer, says. So that's how it
Wow.
works.
That's an amazing way to go towards record, and just saying it's effortless. That's just crazy to me because those albums seem like there was nearly the fact that you said that it's effortless just adds to the magic so much more of Tao. That's class.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's effortless as in, okay, when, as I was saying, so it's a rare thing when you get these musical partnerships. Earl is also a big part. Earl Harvin, the drummer.
Oh yeah.
Earl is literally one of the best drummers in the world. I am completely blessed that every time I call him and say, Earl, it's time to make a record, he's like, I'm in. And it's like, that's why it's so hard for me to play those songs live sometimes, because Earl is such a unique drummer. He really is
Yeah.
integral to the Tao sound. He plays drums. He always plays drums like they're not drums. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
that good. Like he's a jazz guy. He can play anything. He played with Robbie Williams, for God's sake. He played with Air
Tindersticks.
Tinders. He's a full-time member of
Well, yeah,
Tindersticks.
full-time member. Yeah.
Um, he plays with Air, and
Oh, love Air.
yeah, I mean he's just amazing, and we have such a great relationship and a lot of fun. And Earl is the guy who always knows when to like shut me up. If I would need a yes or no, it's Earl I ask, yes or no. He just goes, no, that sucks. I've got an idea. So yeah, it's unbelievable flow. So as Brian Eno says, there's two things that make a great record: what is it? Or there's two things that ruin a record: unlimited budget and unlimited time. So
Yeah.
so when we go in, there's always, I like to record the whole record in one go live. So most of it would be live. We go in and the songs, even when I go into the studio, some of the songs aren't finished, but they end up somehow being finished in the studio. I don't know. It's magic. I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's perfect, and it's great that you mentioned Earl, an amazing drummer. And we're gonna get into just I've got actually a question about Earl that we're gonna be chatting about later because he's also a co-producer on the new album. But we'll get into that later. Amazing musician, and now that we've kind of spoke about Mishnuk, the last, at the moment, last record from Tao, you've gone on your own journey now of making a solo album, which is really, really awesome to see. And also a new record label. We're going to get into that after the new album. But I do want to ask you just, could you tell us, for those who maybe are unfamiliar with the new album, could you tell us everything about This Is My Prayer and what inspired you to start your own solo career?
I don't know if I could tell you everything. We'd be here for hours.
I'm only joking, not everything, but the overview of this
I
new fantastic record that I've actually had a chance to listen to, guys, and it's really good. So when that comes out, I'll be putting it up on social media for you guys to have a listen.
Oh, thanks, Logan. Great.
Oh, of
I'd
course.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on it too. Okay, so how it came together was, um, I wrote a song for Palestine. I don't know if you heard that.
I have. Yeah.
No Two Sides. That was released Christmas, not the year 2023, when the whole thing started going down. Um, so I was going to release it. I didn't know how I would release it. I just had this complete urge to put this tune out in solidarity with the genocide and the apartheid um, regime that we need to keep the heat on and talking about. That is Israel. Um. So yeah, I released that very quick. Was recorded very quick, and it just felt like okay. And then that was done, and then I had a break. I went through a breakup, um, and I retreated to um this cabin in Wicklow. It was New Year's Day. I um retreated. I was in a bad way, Logan. And when I reflect to where I am now and to where I was this time last year, wow, it's incredible, the journey. Um, and in January I was grieving and I was processing, you know, the breakup and all of that, and I started to work on songs and write songs and formulate songs that was helping me to grieve and process and feel, which was really important. Like when we you probably, I don't know if you've ever had a broken heart.
No,
Probably not
no,
yet, but it's
no.
inevitable. It's inevitable, and we all have to go through it. It's like an initiation somehow. But this one was profound on all levels. So those two things were the catalyst, and I was like, this isn't Tao what I'm doing. This isn't anything like Tao, and I have all these songs, and I worked on some new songs. So yeah, it's all a blur. The whole of January for me is like, I don't know how I did it, but I managed to channel what I was feeling into an album. And um, there's 6 brand new songs, and then there's one song, the Pufferfish, which is uh, radically different to all the other tunes, which was actually recorded 10 years ago. And
Wow.
yeah,
I
and
love Pufferfish. It's my favorite track off the album. Yeah,
thanks.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
so random, isn't it? It's just
Yeah, just cool.
that,
Like,
yeah, that's the next single. So I put all them together, um and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do a solo thing, and why not? And Tao was like already like winding down because we had a very busy 2 years, and I was like, yeah, this is the time, this is the window, and if not now, when?
yeah, fair enough. And I mean, it's a truly amazing album. Like it's very it's if you're a fan of Tao, it's very different to any music by Tao. It was so cool. And even just because I woke up one morning and I actually just went I put my earbuds in and I listened to this. And I recently got new earbuds and they got noise cancelling. And I just was walking around the house, kind of maybe doing a couple of chores, but focusing on the music. And it was just so amazing. And I listened to it in one straight listen and it was beautiful. And it sounded so insane in a great way. And I know as well, the production on the album's great. And you were behind the desk producing this with Earl, as you spoke about earlier, Earl, who also played the drums and the keys on this. So Earl going from being a drummer and being so helpful regarding maybe even giving his input on the records to now becoming a co-producer and playing other instruments on the record. What was it like working with Earl on this particular album?
Again, Logan, pure flow. We just do be going, how the frick are we doing this? We recorded those songs in 3 days, six
Wow.
songs, and it's just, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just phenomenal. And also I have to say, I'm not behind the desk. I'm not great with all the technical things, but I had a great engineer, Sam Wax. That's where we recorded it. We recorded it in France, by the way. Um,
Yeah.
in an incredible, incredible place. Everybody who's listening to this, if you're looking for one of the most incredible studios and you want to stay in a French chateau while you're recording, go to La Briche Audio. Look it up. Sam Wax, he's a great engineer. The studio is so inspiring how he has it laid out. It's massive. It used to be an old industrial chicken coop or chicken industrial chicken farm where they would. It was one of the first places where they would. This isn't really selling, is it?
Yeah, but
No, but
I
yeah,
can see the
but it's
warehouse like
massive, and he's
yeah,
and he's transformed it, and it's incredible. So
I can imagine.
that's how we did it. And Daigo, I have to mention Daigo Nakai. He's the bass player that I use on a lot of the Tao recordings too. He came and he plays with me live sometimes. He plays with Tao, and he's also played with my solo project. Daigo is also incredible. So we have this mad studio chemistry between the three of us. Daigo's a jazz bass player. He plays everything, but he's just got this. I mean, you've listened to the bass on it. It has a very unique feel to it, and
Yeah.
so yeah, it's a very unique melting pot of ideas and connection. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really I think that's a great way to describe it. The thing that I love about the record is like you not only took songs maybe from different eras and had different musicians on it, you took all these very different songs but put them together in a way that they actually run really and narratively actually work amazingly as an album, which is hard to do even if you're recording them all on the same day. But you did it on separate days and different times of your life, and I think there's a bit of artistry that should be admired to that as well, which I think is incredible, and I loved being able to touch on. And
Mm,
as well, like the current single that's out, Ag Mushgliocht, one of my favorite tracks in the album. Amazing work, congratulations.
yeah.
And there's a video for this as well. Link to the video will be down below. And you also were co-directing with Helio Leon for this video. And what was it like working making this video for your new album? Could you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, cool. So we didn't aim to have a music video. We just basically were like, let's go and shoot for a day and see what happens. I wanted to. The thing is, Logan, with music videos these days, they're a lot of time and energy and money, and that it's very hard for an independent musician to get a music video that they're truly satisfied with because it takes a huge crew. But somehow I'm really, yeah, somehow my videos turn out really well because I think we just kind of go well with this one especially. um we didn't have any plan. I was thinking maybe we'd have some 20-second clips for promo stuff, but when we looked at the footage, we were like, "Oh, this is actually really cool." And then Helio did my photos. He did the cover for my album as well, which is really cool. And he's an incredible artist. This guy, check him out, Helio Leon. He's a director. He's a photographer. He's a musician. And then we gave it to an editor called Bobby Good, and Bobby is he's an extraordinary editor, Irish guy from Kildare actually.
Still
Yes,
there?
yeah, and he put it together and made a music video out of it, and I was kind of astounded by what he did. So yeah, that's how it came together.
Wow, that's really, really cool, and it's a fantastic video. So again, check that out if you haven't watched it before. And regarding the process of recording, and soon it's going to be releasing this record. This is on Ómós Records, which isn't just a record label, it's your record label, and you only started it recently. So what was it like, and what inspired you to start Ómós Records?
Almost came because I, even within our friend circle, the amount of music that is coming out and the amount of, yeah, just this beautiful, I don't know, we call it medicine music, but even that's not even doing it justice. It's feels like a tribe actually. It's kind of like a tribe. There's a lot of different artists within my circle, and the festivals that I play, and I was like, wow, it'd be great to start a label where we could you know start to put out some of this music that's just phenomenal, and really help these artists, like, you know get to bigger audiences, and play to, like, I've been playing at festivals for years, and just love to see this. It's a scene. It feels like there's a scene there, and that's why I started it. And I love the name. Like, almost, it just was like, it felt really natural, really, too.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to wait for um I didn't want to wait for a label because everything happened so quick for this album. So I didn't really, send it to any labels or anything. I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go for it and do it myself. Huge amount of work though. It's massive. Um, but yeah, feels good. Feels good. Feels like the right thing to do.
Yeah, well, that's really, really awesome. Some useful links for Ómós Records will be down below if you do want to
Yeah,
check out the record label. Um,
we've got two releases coming up after mine, Logan. It's gonna be LON, and then my sister, who has an alter ego called Growler. We're gonna be doing a record with her, and then yeah, we've got a couple of releases planned already, so you can check them out.
That's really, really cool. I can't wait to listen to those
Mm.
albums when they come out and share more on social media. And as you mentioned there, almost is such a beautiful word to show respect and honor. And I think it works so well with just the music that you guys are putting out. And just looking back to the Where Yakuta EP and the beginnings of Tao and Drones of Praise to This Is My Prayer, your upcoming solo album. What is it like looking back and to now on your multi-genre career?
Wow, it's a great question. I don't really look back too much, Logan. It's only when I'm having a conversation with someone like yourself that you're kind of taking me back in a good way. I'm really enjoying it. But I feel, yeah, I don't know. I now I'm reflecting back, and it's like, wow, there is a lot of work there. Um, I feel very blessed, to be honest. I feel, I feel like, I stuck at it, and I'm still making music, and it's still really good. And so far, I'm proud of absolutely everything that I put out, except for one song which I really don't like.
Which one?
um,
Which one is that?
oh, I'm not going to tell you. It's from another
Okay.
another time.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But that's like, I mean, we haven't even scratched on Humanzi. I don't know if you know anything about that, but that's
I
an
I don't really. I know of them, but I haven't
yeah,
listened to Humanity
yeah.
yet.
So that's even like, feels. So it's about 22 years I'm doing this, or 23 years, and it's been a really. I feel a lot of gratitude, Logan. I feel, and I think that it's really important for us to feel gratitude and to say, "Wow, like what I've done is really cool," you know. So I'm feeling very excited for what is to come too, and make another record when this one is done.
Well, that's great to hear. So, for my final question, before we just get into mentioning some of your upcoming things for people to look out for, I always love to ask my guests, do you have any music recommendations?
Well, there's a great artist called Ella Wynn and another one called Growler who are coming out on Ómós Records.
Check them out, guys.
Check
Make sure to
it
be checking them
out.
out.
You know who I just can't. I just at the moment I'm really loving North North African desert blues, like Tinariwen. I just love them. There is an amazing band who I saw in April called Aware. They're incredible, cosmic, beautiful stuff. At the moment, I've been listening to a lot of Alice Coltrane.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, Alice Coltrane. I mean, her. I know you. I know you reviewed uh, John Coltrane, right?
Yeah, twice actually I've done reviews on Coltrane. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
it's amazing. How old are you, Logan?
I'm 13.
Amazing that a 13-year-old is reviewing John Coltrane and buying records. It gives me a lot of hope. Actually, it's so important what you're doing, isn't it? It's and so unique. So I'm really grateful that you're able to, yeah, do this. You remind me of my nephew, Peter. He at your age when he was 12, 11, he was making Spotify playlists and discovering all this new music and buying records at that age. And I was like, wow, actually, this is a good message for younger people to actually value music, And so yeah, what else is
Thank you, by the way, Sean. I really do
yeah,
appreciate that.
it's amazing. It's really special. Um, yeah, I can't really think of any other new artists. Obviously, the flourishing Irish music scene at the moment
Amazing.
it's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers what's going on. Um, but yeah, I always go back to the old stuff. Like yeah, I love Hun too. Do you know them?
No,
They're
no.
Mongolian folk band. Um, Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. There's a lot of music out there, but those are the few that I've been really feeling at the moment. Yeah.
And then, like, for me, I don't actually know much Alice Coltrane, and I've heard a lot about her. I don't know any of her music, but I see all the time if you're a jazz fan or if you're getting into jazz, you should listen to certain albums by Alice Coltrane. For you, from for me, I would like to ask you, is there a particular Alice Coltrane album that you'd recommend to me to start me off getting to know Alice Coltrane's music?
Um, there's this one, I never know how to pronounce it. It's Journey to. Could you look that up?
Actually, when you were saying I know this one, but I didn't know how to pronounce it, I because I was in my head when you mentioned it, Journey to Sacha.
Yes.
It's really
Yeah.
difficult,
I
but
don't
I've
think it,
heard a lot about it.
that record is
Wow.
completely transcendental. It just listen to it on headphones and just lie there. It's just and Alice Coltrane, she became devotional Krishna. You know that.
No, I didn't
Uh,
know that.
uh, I think it was Krishna, but she was very devoted, and the longer she went on, the more her music just became completely devotional. And if you listen to her records, like there's records with her just sitting there on an organ doing these chants, but with her jazzy flavor that is so distinctly her, with like this incredible harp and like zitars, and it's just completely channeled. That's what it is, completely channeled. Also, I one thing I'd say as well, I'm really what's really inspirational is like why I love Nick Cave, is that a lot of people his age, I'm no longer a young artist. I'm not really an old artist. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm 42. And when you see a lot of the greats, most of them don't make good records and they're just living on past glories. Like, but like Nick Cave for me, every time he has or PJ Harvey, you're like, they're going to do something that's really pushing the boat. And that gives me a lot of inspiration because sometimes I'm like, am I actually going to be able to keep making really good music? And actually, I think it just gets better if you're not trying to make music for what others want to hear and living on your past glory. So that's really inspiration. That's why I love Nick Cave, because every time he seems to push the boat and break the convention of whatever he's doing in the past.
Wow, I completely agree. I know I'm again another artist who I've recently been getting into a lot more. Nick Cave. I listened to his latest album, Wild God, and an amazing album. And I'm going to put the link to Wild God down below, as well as the Alice Coltrane album that I found it. It's Journey into Sachin Dana Dananda. It's quite difficult, but
Yeah.
I will have it linked down below so that you can have a listen, listeners. And Nick Cave, yeah, that new album was amazing. I really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed Wild God. It was
Mm,
such a surreal and beautiful record.
yes, totally. Great way
So,
to see it. Yeah.
and now that we mentioned a couple of others artists' new records, I think we should come back to yours. While we're finishing up, I would love to mention you've got an upcoming tour with the new album. You're going to be playing a couple of nights, and I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about that and obviously where people can find your new album before we leave this conversation.
Yeah, thanks, Logan. So we're going to do the record launch concert in Whelan's on the 15th of February. The record itself is out on Valentine's Day this year. So we're doing Whelan's on the 15th. We're doing Cork on the 16th. And then I'm going to be booking an Irish tour and some European dates, which is all in the pipeline. But you can find all the information on www.ómósrecords.com or else at Seán Mulrooney Music, and that's where you'll find everything. The record is going to be available to buy on Bandcamp, um, and it will be on vinyl, but unfortunately I didn't get it in time, so the vinyl won't be on the 14th, but it will be probably more like March.
Well, there you go. listeners, all the links to what Seán just mentioned will be down below. So if you are looking for the new album, wait till March. But before you do that, when the album comes out, pre-order the digital album. And links to all that will be down below. Ómós Records and Seán on social media, as well as all Town the Drones of Praise and all music mentioned in this episode. You can find stream down below. And that's the end of our chat, Seán. It was a fantastic conversation, and I'm really glad you joined me on my podcast. And I want to thank you for the class music and this amazing interview.
Sinead, Logan, thanks so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Seán. Bye.
Long fall. Thank you.